Good evening. I'm honored to have an opportunity to come home again. I got to eat White Castles today, and I'm happy. Only people who don't appreciate White Castles are the people who live here and see them every day. But when you leave this state, you understand how valuable they are. And if you've eaten White Castles like I did for breakfast, you can understand why I'm trying to get out of here, too. But anyway. As I sit there today and I listen to Will talk and I look back over my career and I look at a 14 and under championship, 12 and under championship with the Lenny Lyles League, 14 and under championship, at DeSales High School, divisional champion. And imagine I almost went through my whole high school career never beating one of the, Catholic schools. Except, Will, your team, St. X, allowed us to beat y'all, so we did beat. We did beat one Catholic school in my 3 years at DeSales. Then to Michigan to be two-time Big Ten champion, Bluebonnet Bowl champion, Rose Bowl champion, Hula Bowl champion, Japan Bowl champion, 9-time division champion, 6 NFC championships, and I went to 3 Super Bowls too, Will, but guess what? I won all 3 of mine. But anyway. But he made a lot more money than I did, though, didn't he? I'm honored that my wife, a lady who I love, she made a promise to me. She promised that she would take care of me. She promised me that I would be a better man. And she's a pharmacist, and so she provides me with all the drugs I need, so I am a better man. Because I went from talking about the cheerleaders and how cute they are to I said, baby, did you get my liniment? Did you get my, all your cholesterol medicine? Did you take, my insulin, whatever, but I appreciate it. And all my friends and family. And I also got a couple of the D-Sales people here. One of the friends of mine that D-Sales, Jay Stingle, he was my offensive guard, and he's all of about, he would, Jay, are you here? Where you at? Wave your hand. You won't be mad if I tell him, didn't you? He was going to be Frodo on the Lords of the Ring, but they decided not to take him because he's about that big. He used to hit him in the knee, and I'd hit him in the arm, and we'd knock him out. But after reflecting over my career, there's a couple of things that I really, really appreciate. I think that this is a very, very unbelievably special Hall of Fame. And I believe it is because of the thing that it stands for. At DeSales, a lot of people who don't know, when you grow up and you're not sure of your purpose in life, some kids grow up and one of the worst things in the world it is to sometimes be is to be different. To be radically different from the people around you usually means that you're picked on and you're talked about, you're made fun of, and you sometimes live your whole young childhood and sometimes up into adolescence and teenagers, and some people even as adults, feeling as though God makes mistakes. You ask yourself, how could he allow me to be this? Why was my circumstances this way? Why did my family die? Why did this happen? Why? Sometimes life is full of whys, and you sometimes question the things that happen to you. But there's 3 verses that I learned while I was at high school, at DeSales High School, and I have allowed them to come alive in my adult life, and it's changed the dynamics, and it's created a paradigm in me where I understand that I have something and someone greater than me in control. The first scripture that I will talk about is 2 of them. And the first one was, looking unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith. Now, you got to understand when you're not sure about who you are and you go through circumstances in your life and you sometimes feel as though everything about it is wrong, that you don't understand, and you ask yourself why. See, when the Bible tells me that he was the author of my faith, which means he writes the story, that the things that are going to happen to me are going to be what he determines. He understands my struggles. He understands what I go through. He understands what you think about me. He understands how you feel about me. But he is the author. He writes the story. And sometimes it is hard to understand why God writes some of the stories in our life that he does. But my Bible also says that he's the finisher. When I got my Kentucky Hall of Fame honor for Kentucky Pro Football Hall of Fame honor, and I remembered how it was when I was 8 years old, and then I remembered how I was being honored, it made me understand that when God wrote the finish of my story, that my history was not my destiny. And that's one of the things I want you to take back to some of the people that you know that are going through things, who may not feel as though their life is truly fulfilled. And I want you to tell them that because God writes the story and he also writes the finish, that sometimes your history is not your destiny. He can take someone who is not sure of themselves, don't understand why. And when he finishes the story, you're going to understand that he was great, that you can depend upon this God. And another thing that I learned, the second scripture, is when it said, he formed man from the dust of the ground. You know, it says how he created everything, but when he got to man, his greatest creation, you would think that the God of this universe, when he came to his greatest creation, man, this creation that he loved so much that the angels got mad. The angels said, God, why are you so mindful of those people who really don't treat you right? But when God was making man, and you understand, if you can understand, like I understood it back when I was at DeSales High School, it does something to you. When you understand what it means for God to make man from the dust of the ground. Imagine this, scoping dust together till you get a pile of clay or a pile of dirt. And it's something that no one likes. When it's on your truck, you wash it off. It's within your clothes, you wash it. You dust it off your furniture. No one likes dirt. It is insignificant. People hate dirt. But he formed this dirt. And see, you would think that God being God, he could have reached into his platinum mines and pulled out platinum, one of the metals that men look at and say, this is a special metal, but he didn't. He used dirt. Or you could have thought that he could have, instead of using dirt, he could have reached into his diamond mines and pulled out the most precious of stones and put them in our eyes, and our eyes would sparkle like diamonds. But he didn't. He used dirt. But he formed this dirt into the shape of a man. So you got to imagine that he made a dirt arm, and he made a dirt leg, and he made a dirt brain, and he made a dirt eye. But see, there's nothing special about making dirt look like someone. Sculptors do it all the time. It is my goal one day to be in the Hall of Fame, where they will take a piece of clay and they will form an image that looks just like me, because people can make dirt look like people all the time. But the God that I serve wanted me to understand that when I face my greatest moments in life, when I feel as though that I'm in a room by myself, or I live on an island, or the whole world may be against me, it's what he done to that dirt that showed me how special he is, that let me know that I could do anything except fail. My Bible tells me that he breathed the breath of life into dirt, and dirt became a living soul. He breathed the breath of life into dirt, and a dirt arm started to move, a dirt heart started to beat, a dirt brain started to think, a dirt eyeball started to see. So if my God can make a dirt eyeball see, what is a Super Bowl to him? What is him bringing me back when I'm injured? What is him directing my life? So not only do I have an author who writes a story and makes sense of every craziness that happens in your life, but he also has the capability of making a dirt eyeball see. My third and last scripture that I heard, and I think that is influencing my life, it says, what does it prosper a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? What does it prosper me if I have all of the riches in the world, if I have all of the accolades in the world, if people love me, if I have money to do anything? What does it mean if I gain everything that the world has to offer me, but I do not live in a way that when God calls his people in, that he will look at me and say, well done, that good and faithful servant? And because I understood that, and because I understand that, I make it a point in my life that everywhere I go, I want them to know that I know about a God who can make a dirt eyeball see, and no matter how your struggle may be in life, that he can bring you through them because he is God. I honor this Catholic organization who has decided to have a Hall of Fame because there's a whole bunch of people that we have one thing in common. We went to schools that had God as the center of their teaching. And when you have a God that can make a dirt eyeball see the center of your attention, then the world could be different. And I want everyone in this room to make it a point to write it into your will, to do everything that you can to make sure that from this day forward that this will be one of the most honored Hall of Fames in the history of Hall of Fames, because it's saying we are honoring people who not only played great sports, but they came from a spiritual background. And in closing, I will give you a poem that I wrote when I was at Michigan. See, I was the first freshman in the 100 and whatever many years of Michigan to ever start as a true freshman. So you got to understand, I am the first freshman to start as a true freshman for a game. And so I'm having a great career, and then I get hurt. And I realize that there's ebb and flows in life. But the poem that I wrote, which I will leave you with, I wrote it my sophomore year of high school when I thought the world was crazy. And God sort of helped me to understand how to see things different, to create a different paradigm. And it's called Ball of Confusion. Life is cold, life is warm, life hurts, life helps, life is walking in the darkness and seeing the light. Life is good times, life is bad times, life is right, life is wrong, life is finding a happy home. With who? With you? With who? With me? Do you know what we made life out to be? Life is yes, life is no, life is a story we should all know. Once upon a time there was a world, and in this world there was life, and from this life there was me. Two loves made one. Now I am here on this world, but where is love? What is love? Love to me is unselfish, understanding, and kind, for it speaks from our hearts and not from our minds. But I'm the exception, you're the exception. Everyone claims that they're the exception. Let me see, can I have just a little more? Don't you hurt me, that's for sure. These are the things that we see that describes our lives of me, me, me. He's black, he's white, he's brown, he's yellow. My mama told me not to hang around with those kind of fellows. But in this world of me, 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 can we change to we, we, we? For if we change from me to we, it's a change that we surely would all love to see. Thank you for this honor.